Tusum Sangye Tam Jeje Ngo Ridang Jinguru Jan Tsue Shabda Karting Somba Mebe Dersen Panten Lama Tambe Shabje Do Chima Meba Langu Rabdo Dode Gosum Kuba Jambe Cha Sashin Japso Chewo Chewa Ne Tsera Tamje Do Tawar Meba Je So Zon Do So Nyi Tui Shiwa So Nam Kushi Nyi Jing Nyi Shir Chen Tse Kang Yin Dang Drola Pempura Shen No Nam Shi Nyi Jing Jidin Tun Trum Tse Ba Kanda Yanda Dembe Tona Namba Kunden Hason De Somba Yendui Changchub Sempé Soche Sangye Jine Yumde La Chang Balden Dorje Changwa Rikun Shabda Lama Karma Ba Jingkuru Gunjin June Seshi Bajuru Yidam Nanjurama Chine Gunji Chebo Wanjuru Chuchung Prajin Jamdre La Nanjuru Tseji Kuben Dudon Rame Tuji Chongwan Chukdu Jagun Wo Bema Jung Donga Songchu Demba Bewe Chinzi Weze Jave Nyugo So Teksho Dembe Jansen So Wan Yuen Sangye Kundan Nyamna Yang Karting Sangye Le Jang Hawaii Zawe Lame Shabla Chase Ne Dason Rowe Lamna Chue La Chong. Good morning. As I have mentioned yesterday, to generate bodhicitta is very important. As we are Mahayana practitioner, we to benefit all sentient beings by applying the Buddha Dharma, the listening, contemplation, and meditation. With these three the practices, we are able to benefit all sentient beings. The benefit means we benefit self first, then we benefit all sentient beings, bring them to the Buddhahood. But in order to bring them to Buddhahood, one must get ready to help all sentient beings. So, how to get ready to help sentient beings? And apply the Buddha Dhamma by listening, by contemplation, and by meditation. Tewa Chenpo Menga Kadam Legwang Rinpoche Tsatsi Changchub Senpa Norbü Chungwa Xie Jawa Shuso. Now, this is essence teaching from the Atisha. It's called the essential instruction of the Mahayana, the transmitted from the Atisha, which is the root verses of the Bodhisattva, the norbü, the Jewelry Rosary. They just name. It's not so important because they are trying to entertain you. Because we need sometimes entertainment, right? Because when you read the textbook, sometimes the lectures, when you listen, so-called, enlightened in 1 week, then you run to there. You are so excited. But if somebody say, general teaching, then you say, maybe very boring. Yeah. So Atisha knows your weakness. So therefore he tried to entertain you, to bring you to in this teaching. So it's called the Jewelry Rosary, which is very expensive. Jagarkedo Bodhisattvamaņyāvalī Pekedo Changchub Senpa Norbü Chungwa Tuji Chenpo La Cha Tsalo. Supplicate to Tuji Chenpo La Cha Tsalo means we supplicate to the Lord of Compassion, the great compassion. And then next one is the Lama Nam La Cha Tsalo. Then supplicate to the masters or the great gurus. The next one is the Tebe Hala Cha Tsalo. So supplicate to the deities, the wisdom deities, the that is Tepe means the wisdom deities, that each and every individual has their own deities, wisdom deities. Giving an example, like if I do practice White Tara, then White Tara is the object to supplicate. If somebody does practice of Avalokiteshvara, is the object of the supplication. But in the space of the Dhammadhatu, all deities, all gurus, and all Dhamma protectors are inseparable. Yeah? So when you do practice like Yidam practice, you do all kinds of Yidam practice, green Tara, white Tara, and 4-arm Jewelry, 1,000-arm Jewelry. There are so many practices, so you get confused. Sometimes you may not be able to do all these, although you want it. You want to do all practices. You see this one, oh, so nice, I want to do this one. And then you see next one, oh, wrathful, I want to do that one. So you really want to do all kinds of practices, Dhamma protectors, but cannot finish, and we cannot do all of them. So all in one is important. You should have this knowledge, and we should have a wisdom to realize our Avalokiteshvara is all in one. White Tara is the all in one. No need to do individually, one by one. Very difficult. Although you do that, there's not much really success. Tired, time-wise, and you're exhausted. You are forcing yourself to do practice, to recite mantra. You keep all kinds of mantra, green, blue, red, the white for the white Tara, green for green Tara, the black for Mahakala, dark blue for the for 6 arms Mahakala. So this is quite troublesome in the practice. So practical way of practicing all in one is the best. Therefore, Tepe Thala Chatsalo. Then the Lama Namla Chatsalo. Lama means the great master, the guru. And the Lama here refers to the masters who has gained fully experience of the compassion and the loving kindness and the wisdom, and themselves did practice very well and achieved that practice, and achievement of that practice is now sharing with all sentient beings, and giving us the direction, and giving us the path, and giving us the instruction clearly, which one is right, which one is wrong, which one is need to be adopted, and which one is need to be abandoned. Clearly given the path and the direction. So that sort of the individuals or the beings called the Lama, which is the Guru or Great Master. Then Tukje Chenpola Chatsalo, that means the great compassion. Tukje means compassion, Chenpo means great. The great compassion is the source of the enlightenment. When we talk about the great compassion, so great compassion is the essence practiced in the Lojong, in Kadampa tradition. Like 7-point of mind training is the essence of the practice in 7-point mind training is exchanging, giving and taking. Giving and taking is the essence of practice of the Lojong. So without compassion, great compassion, one cannot practice the Mahayana view, Mahayana meditation, and the Mahayana conduct. All this view, conduct, meditation, very much based on this great compassion. Not only compassion, but very great compassion. Okay, now the root verses. Tesum tamche pangcha sing, rula nending jeso cha, ni mu lelo rabang sing, dadu zunjun bebar cha, Okay, now, Tetsum Tamche Pangchasing. Tetsum means like feeling of uncertainty or doubt. And there's a lot of resistance in our practice. You want to do practice, but same time there is a lot of doubts. So this disturbs you to get into the practice. So in the Kadamba tradition, or those great masters in the past, they are very determined, very decisive getting into the practice, because they know that samsara has no more happiness. And myself, as a practitioner, I'm not looking for the miseries, the pains, the suffering, not at all. I want to get rid of these miseries and the pain and the suffering. So there's only one option, which is get into or enter into the Dhamma practice. So you have to have a full of wisdom, realizing which one is right, which one is wrong. What is a samsara? What is a nirvana? And you knowing those different notions, and you become very determined and very decisive. During practice, you have to be very decisive and very determined. If you feel always like weak, mentally very weak, want to do that, but you are at the same time very scared. And want to go to retreat, but at the same time you're scared. 1 week, oh, too long. 1 month, oh, too long. 1 year, forget about that. So that is sort of, you have a, what call the weakness mentally, not really prepared well, not really prepared well. Even 1 hour meditation, you are not so well prepared. But here it says, abandon that kind of undecisive, the mental attitude. Be determined, be very decisive, get into the practice. And feeling of uncertainty or the doubt disturbs us, delaying our practice, always delaying. Therefore, our life is very uncertain, and we would not know when death will come. So when death comes, if you prepare to do Dhamma practice, it's not the right time. It's the wrong time. So right time is now, when you are healthy, that you are able to do the Dhamma practice physically, mentally. It's available. Everything is available with you. And so take the chance and do practice. Undecisive notion is the biggest obstacle for the Dhamma practitioner. So if you delay Dhamma practice, then you will never be achieved the great happiness in this life. And you are still hoping maybe next life, but that also very uncertain. So make it useful or meaningful of this life with the determination, full of determination. One should get into the Dhamma practice. So that's why here Atisha says, Tetsum Tamche Pangchasing. And actually the doubt is once disturbed by a doubt or the feeling of uncertainty, then the next practice also, if you want to do that practice, but then there is another doubt and the feeling of uncertainty will arise. And then that is the biggest disturbance for you, because you are unable to enter that practice. And now next, some practices that may you like it or like to do, but another, the doubt or feeling of uncertainty arise, and that disturbs you. So it affects all the time. So that these will never let you get out of this feeling of uncertainty. So it's what we call the negative, the tendency. It's always there. So therefore, you should cut immediately when it comes, like doubt or feeling of uncertainty. And you be very determined, say that because of the Guru, because of my precious human life, and because of my wisdom, I can do it. I can do practice. I can do retreat. I can do all the practices, the generating compassion, loving kindness, and the wisdom. I can follow the great masters, and I can follow their instructions. I will do now. So that kind of a determination that helps you to overcome these unnecessary, the feeling of uncertainty. Drubla nenten jeso cha, the second verse. Drubla means the practice. Drub means practice. And the nenten means with the diligence. Jeso cha, je means like joyfully. Practice joyfully, willingly. From the beginningless of the samsara, and we wander in this cyclic existence, and gone through all kinds of pain and suffering, which we don't want. And all this pain and suffering is unwanted circumstances and unfavorable circumstances. Definitely we don't want them at all, but no choice now, because lack of diligence, lack of wisdom, and the lack of application. We read, we listen, but we rarely apply this, or we rarely actualize what we have heard and what we have seen, or what we have read the book. But problem is the application. When you are, as I said yesterday, our biggest problem is when you do session inside the room, or inside the cave, or inside the retreat center, and you feel that, oh, I'm doing quite okay. Because, of course, you are doing quite okay. There's no disturbance around you. And there's no taste. And we need to taste, is it? When you eat a good food, how could you prove this is good food? You eat, and then you say, yes, it's good food. It's delicious. When you look at the food, you can't say, oh, this is a delicious food. I don't think so. I would not believe that unless you really taste. So therefore, your taste means everyday life. We have all kinds of the object, good, bad, the pleasant, unpleasant. And then you should examine our emotion. How does it arise? How does it work with your emotion? How does it work with these objects? Then you will know, did I really apply Dharma accordingly or not? All sorts of objects around you and are all object of your practice and the examination and your training of mind. So therefore, Kadamba is very direct teaching. Say that test yourself, see how does it really work or not. Not simply count the mala, sit in the sun, have a cup of tea, and recite some very beautiful mantras. And so that is not really enough in the Kadamba tradition. This is a very straight and a very direct teaching which is striking your heart and your emotion. And make sure practice really is working with my emotion. And make sure that you gain experience from the practice. I don't want to waste my time. I want to really make sure that practice is really going very well with me. So that sort of a determination you have to have in the practice. Therefore, Dula Nenten Jesuja. Ni mu lelo rapang sing pado zundun bebercha. Sleep is no good. Of course, it's good for health, but too much sleep no good. Therefore, ni muk slow moving, like dullness, right? Move. And the lelo means the laziness. These three disturbs our practice. So, real practitioners, they sleep short period of time. But many people say you have to have sleep 8 hours. Otherwise, your health gets something wrong. But I don't believe so, because those great masters who does not sleep at all, but they are very healthy. So far they are healthy. So it does not mean that you don't sleep, but of course you can sleep, but sleep short and do more practice. Because we have been enough slept from the beginning of the time till now, we really enjoy with the sleep. Sleep in the morning. There's another so-called nap after the lunch. So-called, it's very important, nap. And the evening also said rest, sleep, little bit on chair, about 5 to 10 minutes. So we are really enough enjoyed with the sleep. So, but Kadamba not so keen about these ideas, because this will delay and the delay and the delay of practice. Then the wasting our precious human life, which is very rare to be obtained in the future. So that rare, precious human life is already obtained and already achieved. Now the responsibility is to make useful this precious human life through abandoning these so-called like sleeping and the slow moving or dullness, all the laziness. So you have to be fresh. You have to be fresh in the morning, fresh in the afternoon, fresh in the evening. If you think of the pain and the suffering of the samsara, I'm quite sure we all be fresh always. Yes. But why we are not so fresh? Because we didn't experience much about the pain and the suffering, and we don't really care so much about that. So therefore, we are still enjoying with the sleep and the laziness. As I said yesterday, the Kadamba master says that I have no time to be smiled. Yeah? When I see the pain and the suffering of all sentient beings, there is no point or there is no sense to be smiled at all. Likewise, the same case here, when you experience these unnecessary suffering and the pain of this samsara, this is our daily life. It's nothing special lesson that need to be learned. This is our basic lesson, everyday life, going through all kinds of suffering and the pains, right? So no need to be the study, or no need to be to pick up this lesson, but this is our life, everyday life. So with that experience, like to me, like Kadamba master, they don't have a sense to be the relaxed, because if this is the case, you are wasting your life and wasting your time. Therefore, be diligent always. Like the great master Potowa, very great master in Kadamba, and his main practice is called no time practice. Yes, long mat, Tibetan called long mat, means no time. So no time helps you to progress all the Dhamma practices. Why we do practice, of course we do practice, but not much progress, not much achievement that we make. Why? Because there is still some obstacles of laziness. Sometimes too much rest, and we do rest, and we entertain each other, say, okay, take rest. And when I'm sick also, some Dhamma friends say, take rest, take more rest. And more rest, and more rest, more rest, ended up died, that's it. So by resting, you didn't achieve anything else. So it's quite stupid, the way you say that keep your rest. But then the Bodhisattva says, I have no time to rest. I did rest from the beginning list of the time, so I'm still in the samsara. This is the result of the rest. So now I have seen the rest is the biggest obstacle to the practitioners, to the practice. Therefore, now I give up the mind of the resting. Now I pick up the mind of no time. So no time push me forward into the practice. And the no time, the mind of the no time push me into the Dhamma practice. And the practice of the no time that helps me to progress my Dhamma practice. So therefore, my main practice is no time. So his name is Bodhisattva. And to me, I feel sometimes it is quite unfair, because those great masters really done so hard work for us, not for them. And they have even achieved their practice, but they have given such a wonderful teachings behind for us. But we take very lightly. Just read, oh, he says this, he said that. Yeah, that's it. And really don't take seriously practice. And so that's quite unfair. Yet, at the same time, what do? We do supplications, say, please grant your blessing, help me, protect me. But how? They can't do much. What they can do is with the teachings, these beautiful words, and these essential teachings. That's the only they can help us. Beyond that, they can't do anything more, I'm very sure. They can't do. And what they have given us, and we don't care so much. But at the same time, at the side, you make noise. Say that, do you see me? Do you think of me? I always call you. I'm sure they don't hear you. I'm quite sure they don't hear you. They hear you only under the condition. If you apply these teachings, they can hear you. Yes. So that's very sure. Therefore, I'm saying unfair means somebody did so much for us, but we don't do. And somebody say, do this, don't do that, but we do opposite. Yes, I did say this 2 days back. They say do, we don't do. They say don't do, we purposely do that. So that's how I'm saying it's quite unfair. So therefore, if you are really devoted, genuine practitioner, then must know that what is the right and the wrong, should have a wisdom to distinguish these two and to choose the right one and not the wrong one. And the Milarepa says in his Doha, in the future, Milarepa says, in the future, if those practitioners, if they really do apply Dhamma correctly or actualize the teachings, because of Milarepa himself gone through these difficulties and hardship walk with his practice, he said this will affect you. Because he had met very strong aspiration, which he has given a wonderful wishes that may my hard work, my diligence be able to benefit those beings who are diligent in the future with the Dhamma practice. So there is a connection. This shows us the blessing is a very loyal connection, that what they did and we follow as we are follower, and we have to do same thing. Yeah? Okay. There is no doubt to receive the blessing. So the blessing is a very essential power that is something from heart to heart and from mind to mind, not physical to physical at all. So therefore, Milarepa has done all his hard work in order to benefit sentient beings. Therefore, his commitment is the practice that he has done is for benefiting all sentient beings. So he had met connection already to us if we do apply the Dhamma accordingly, if we listen his teachings accordingly and seriously. If we do that, then he says his blessing is always there, and he will support us and He will protect us, and His blessing is unceasingly flowing on us. Right? So therefore, to be diligent is not only forcing yourself, but willingly, joyfully, with the full of understanding, and we do practice, then all the Dhamma protectors, deities, the gurus will protect you, give you blessing. Now, next verses is Tendang Xixin Pa Yue Be Wang Bu Guanam Gundu Song. There are two verses. Now, in order to be diligent, it's not easy to be diligent, because in the Shantidevas, the Bodhisattva Avatara, when he explains the characteristic of the diligence, is not forcing yourself or pulling yourself into the practice, but rather joyfully you are engaging in the Dhamma practice, study, contemplation, meditation, whatsoever, you engage with the joy, with the full of joy. If you have that sense of like the joyfully study, joyfully contemplating, joyfully meditating, so that is the characteristic of the diligence. Right? So therefore, in order to be a good diligent or diligent person, what I'm supposed to do in order to become a good diligent person, then the next instruction is say, be a mindful. If you are not mindful, then there are a lot of obstacles. Mental distraction, that's the biggest problem for the practitioners. Distraction, the mental distraction. Therefore, in order to avoid this mental distraction, one should be very mindful. So these two verses explains what is mindfulness. And to be mindful then means it's a Tibetan called Bhagyu. It's something like spying yourself, not spying others. We spying others. What is he talking? What is he doing? Is he really doing right? Or is he wrong? So busy spying after others, but very rare spying myself. So teachings in the Katampa, those Lojong mind training, to become mindful practitioner, then should spy myself, spying after me, my physical attitude, my verbal attitude, my mental attitude. I need to spying. I need to spy, and I need to examine. So by examination, by spying my attitude, then slowly you can become a very mindful person. According to the Bodhisattva the fourth chapter and the fifth chapter mainly explanation of the mindfulness, and given two aspects. One is the tempa. Tibetan name is tempa. Tibetan call tempa. Not Tibetan call, but Tibetan words is the tempa. Another one is sheshin. What differences between? To me, sheshin is like really mindfulness. Sheshin. Sheshin means like really being mindful. So with this mindfulness, that helps you or to protect your mind from the distraction. To protect you, always protect your mind. But in case, because of this, the negative, the habitual tendency, sometimes it's easy to be distracted to your mind. And what happens when your mind is distracted? Then tenpa means remember the suffering, the pain, the misery of these six realms caused by distraction. Because of the distraction, the mental distraction, so the result is the pain and the suffering. So you remember, pain and the suffering is all caused by the mental distraction. So with this practice, recollect your mind back to normal. It helps you. So therefore, two aspects.
be careful or alertness. So that is the mindfulness. That is the shishin. But sometimes what happens if your mind become very distracted, then think of the pain and the suffering. So this helps you to bring back or recollect your mind back to normal. So that is the temper. To protect your faculties. So when you see something, so you should apply mindfulness. When you hear something, you should apply mindfulness. If you do not apply mindfulness because of seeing something and the lack of a training of your mind and the lack of a practice, then your mind carried away by these powerful objects. So this is our problem. If you are advanced practitioner, okay, then you have a power to bring all these objects into your practice, and no longer these negative thoughts or objects can disturb you at all. And that they cannot disturb you because you are the advanced practitioner. But for the beginner, the starting point is very important. The starting point is the alertness and the mindfulness and the carefulness and the cautiousness. These are very important in our practice. Otherwise, our mind is very fragile, very easy to be carried away by these powerful objects. Therefore, the Atisha says here, to protect the faculties. So next two verses is explaining how to examine our own the mental attitude. So day and the night, he says, yin zen, the day and the night, and the 3 times a day and the 3 times a night, and repeatedly need to be examine your mental attitude. Even you engage Dharma practice, like talking about cultivating bodhicitta, compassion, loving kindness, but at the same time, it's very important to examine your motivation. Does not mean you are applying bodhicitta, compassion, loving kindness is good. It's not always good. That just also depends your motivation. As long as the Dharma activities or Dharma practice is mainly or solely only for the benefiting of all sentient beings and nothing to do with your own personal benefit, then that is the correct Dharma practice. But certain Dharma practices we do, but at the same time there are a lot of the negative intention and a negative motivation. So seemingly you are engaging Dharma practice, but in the reality that is something to do with your own personal benefit. So which is totally contradict to the practice of a Mahayana or the Buddha Dharma. So therefore, examining your mental attitude or motivation from time to time is very important, which helps you to protect, which helps to protect your mind, the engaging the negativities. So clear distinction between, the right and the wrong means everything based on your motivation. So yesterday I have mentioned the kunlong is very important, not the Dharma practice itself. Dharma practice is, of course, seemingly it looks like the Dharma, but if it is start from the wrong point, then it's not Dharma practice. Although it's seemingly Dharma practice, but it's not Dharma practice. So therefore, the motivation and the attitude is very important. So this is a very practical and a very essential instruction, because many times seemingly we are really doing Dharma practice so much, and we spend time hours and hours and hours doing Dharma practice, doing meditation, doing all kinds of Dharma practice, but they failed to recognize what was the motivation. So that's why you can see not much progress in our Dhamma practice, and not much benefit that you can gain experience from the Dhamma practice, it is all because of wrong foundation and the wrong point where your practice begins. So therefore, examining our mental attitude is very important. In the Theravada tradition also, they emphasize mainly for examining attitude. And the Mahayana more serious, and the Vajrayana much, much more serious. So upgrading the examination. There's not much excuses in the practice said that we are Vajrayana, do whatever we like, and we do that. It's not something like that. The principle is very important in the Dhamma practice. So principle here is the recognition, my own fault and a mistake. The recognition what is right, the recognition what is wrong, that I need to be judged and I need to be make the distinction between. So that is we call is carefulness. If you are so careful and cautious with your practice, then you can subdue the power of engaging negativities. And at the same time, you can make a development and achievement the noble qualities. And day by day, you can experience much differences in your practice because of the carefulness. So therefore, the Kadampa Master Atisha says here, repeatedly, yang dang yang, the repeatedly and repeatedly need to be examined our motivation and the mental attitude. So therefore, we must not be too particular with the quantities and the numbers of what we are doing, and we don't consider this as a diligent person. So diligent practitioner or diligent person who consider quality of the doing practice, and I make sure that I'm not making mistake in our practice. So that is what we call the diligent practitioner. All right, that's my job. Finished. Too long also not good. Short and sweet. And afternoon, I said don't take rest, but I will take rest. And our two resident the lamas, the very wonderful lamas. Of course, I don't need to explain. You all know, and are very qualified, and are very nice resident lamas. So I asked them to take my place, and so they will do, and just listen what they say. Yes, and also it's very good because the two of them done 3-year retreat and are very qualified that I know because they are from our monastery. So they're very good qualified. So keep them busy and let them also give a teaching. This is a very wonderful, really. Need to be done. The resident lama does not mean the caretaker of the house. So the resident lama is the giving teaching and the giving, the doing dharma teachings, dharma activities is we call the resident lama. At the same time, they will take care of the center, of course. So they will do in the afternoon. Thank you.